Shit. Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Shout out to everybody that's in the house, and I am here at, of course, Joe Boo's Man Cave. It seems like it's been forever. It seems like it was a lifetime ago that we were here. I see Chris May in the house. I see Logan Motorsports. What's going on? Lady Libra in the house. Shout out to Lady Libra, always supporting the channel, showing much love. And I appreciate everybody being here. I'm still getting back on an even keel because I still feel like I'm on West Coast time. We got back in at 5:30 in the morning. By the time we got our bags and got everything back here, it was about 6:30 this morning. And I ended up taking a nap because I didn't sleep. I did not sleep on it. Help me, Rhonda. What's going on? Troy Daniels. My apologies because we had a lot of stuff going on. It was so much running around between keeping up with the Cowboys and keeping up with stuff with my family and things like that. It was really busy, and the Wi-Fi was not great for doing the live streams, but we are back now. We're going to get back on track. And so I had a little bit of a mistake here because Game Time Bryan sent me a text message this morning and said he wanted to ask me a few questions about training camp and things for his lunchtime chat, thinking that he was going to do his live, but it ended up being that he wanted to record it and then put it out there. So I kind of screwed the pooch, and I was kind of like, oh, Game Time. I was set it up for a live stream. Gina Dallas Diva, miss seeing you, girl. Miss definitely seeing you. Alicia D in the house. Lola, what's going on? Shout out to everybody that's getting in here. So Bryan is actually starting out doing a video and things right now. I have him muted, and I'll bring him back in here in a few minutes here. But I want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions of the Dallas Cowboys so far. Are you excited about the team? Are you still pissed off? Are you just done with the team? I feel better seeing some of the things that I've seen, but who knows? Who knows with the Cowboys, what we're going to do or what we're going to be. I still feel like the Cowboys players are all in, but I feel like the Cowboys are hamstringing the players with Jerry Jones and the whole CeeDee Lamb thing. Ray, shout out to Ray, channel member for 43 months. Who is your best player in practice so far, Mark? Man, there's so many guys that have been playing so well. I mean, Overshone, of course, last year tearing his ACL, he looked fantastic, especially finally getting into his, the first game since the ACL and getting that first tackle and stuff. I thought he ended up having so far has had a great camp. Mazi, of course, he's my pet player, okay? Mazi Smith, to me, has been putting in so much work. It kind of, I don't mean disrespect to some people, but some people will see something and they'll assume that they know what they're talking about and don't know because they've never played the position. And so let me pop Game Time on the screen. I don't know if he's ready yet or not. And these content creators. Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm one of them. I'm Joe the fan as well. I've got a little bit of experience playing. But if you are a person who played high school football or maybe college football and you played wide receiver, that doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're talking about when it comes to an interior defensive lineman. And so I looked at the game and I saw some great flashes behind Mazi that to me look, head and shoulders above. Let me turn up the volume for Game Time. Hold on, good people. Broadcast media in full effect. Okay, broadcast media in full effect. I don't know if Game Time is finished with his video yet and has unmuted me yet. Let me see. I'm going to unmute. Let's see. Unmute there.
Yeah, well, am I on your stream?
You are on my stream right now, Game Time.
Well, I got blocked, so...
You got blocked?
Yeah, well, they ended my stream. I did a video clip that I've been doing. All of a sudden, they're getting very picky. They
Yeah,
just
you
stopped
got to
the
be real
stream.
kid. Oh shit, you were going live.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back live again. I'm
Okay,
just gonna,
all right. We'll wait for you while you're doing that. I'll mute my mic,
All right.
and we'll be right back. And while we're waiting
that's
for the,
fine.
well, yeah, I muted my mic. While we're here, we have something interesting that happened, which is not interesting. It's actually sad. If you're Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy, who looked really good in their first preseason game, has a torn meniscus right now, and that may change things as far as what that team is able to do. If you're Justin Jefferson, knowing that you got Sam Darnold that's going to be thrown to you, it might not be very good. But if you are looking, this might be a good time to take the under for the 1,300 yards for Justin Jefferson. But if you haven't, check out BetUSA.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
Shout out to BetUS. Do you know you can do 3 deposits, and they'll do 125% matching? In case you don't know, if you put up to $2,000, if you put in $2,000, that means
here we go again. Good afternoon, everybody. YouTube is getting awful sensitive these days. I've used a lot of clips, and there we go. I'll have to shorten that one up, but we are live. We are live. We are live. Hopefully, everybody will come on over to here. Sorry about that. Mark Holmes, are you ready to
I am ready. I was just telling everybody about BetUS.
Unmute.
I was telling everybody about BetUS
Curtis
that has.
Bergdorf. Sorry about that. What's up, Jay Daddy? The Coyote. Yeah, we're back. We are back. We are back. We are back.
I was just telling everybody
YouTube,
about.
Sometimes I don't have
patience to jack with you today.
Yes, I don't have patience to jack with you today. Can't hear Mark. Yeah, he's still muted.
Oh, I'm still muted. Oh,
unmute yourself, Mark.
I'm sorry.
We are back, Logan.
There we go. All right.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, we're good. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of clips lately. YouTube has been really sensitive as of late, so I gotta really shorten up my clips, I guess. What's up, Yasin? What's up, Mark? There he is, people.
I'm doing good. Couple of things, man. BetUS. Do you know you can do 3 deposits of up to $2,000 and they have 125% matching? That's a whole lot of money to work with. And I don't know if you heard about Justin Jefferson right now. You might want to take the under for 1,300 yards because J.J. McCarthy has a torn MCL, and that's a 4 to 8 week injury. So there you have that. Walker Wade in the house. Shout out to Walker Wade. So we are back from training camp, game time. I want to get your take, and I know you have a bunch of questions for me about camp and things. Get your take. Do you feel better or worse about the Cowboys?
Oh, I feel better. I think what I was telling you, before you went to training camp, I thought our defense would be better. I definitely think it will be better. How about, listen, we just got to stay healthy. We can't afford to lose any more depth. But, I feel really good as long as Dak's in the game. We're going to get to it, people. I would have picked Mark's brain. But, yeah, I feel a lot better, Mark. You were there. You tell me. How do you feel?
I feel, well, it's a cycle when it comes to Cowboys. We lose in the playoffs. We get trashed. And then free agency comes about. We do nothing. Of course, we get trashed. The Cowboys suck. They're ass, and everything else. We go through the draft. They tell us the players we drafted stink. We got a B- or a B as far as draft goes. And then we get to training camp and everything else. And then the narrative starts to change that now, after not doing anything, we're a Super Bowl contender. And they set up the expectations that, it's Super Bowl or bust. And it's kind of crazy. So we're on that upswing right now. But the Cowboys, for as much as we trash them and say, they didn't do anything to help themselves, you kind of have to look at it and say, if Diggs does come back completely healthy, that's as good as any free agent cornerback signing in the NFL, right? And,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And looking at Overshown right now, hell, the fact that we got Marquise Bell back at safety and we actually have linebackers, you got to look at that and say, that's as good as a free agent signing that anybody else may have had. Getting Kendricks in there because Kendricks seems to be the general. And even though Brian Brodus kind of threw Mazi under the bus and said, oh, yeah, he did some good things, but then, he had a great play with the screen, but then he took the next play off, which is true. But I'm sitting here thinking that he had 3 tackles, and unfortunately, people equate an interior defensive lineman like they're an edge rusher or like they're a linebacker and expect them to have 10, 12 tackles a game, and if they don't have that, they think of him as a bum. I'm going to ask you a question here. Warren Sapp, one of the greatest defensive interior linemen out there, how many tackles do you think he averaged in his career per game?
How many tackles?
In a game.
I don't know. 4? I don't know.
2.8.
Really? So even me going 4 was too much.
2.8 tackles is what he averaged throughout his career. 198 games, 569 tackles. And that's where people don't understand that a lot of times, because there's one play, Philly 500 has been trashing me and stuff and said, oh, look at this, he missed a play. I'm looking at it and understanding that his assignment is the A gap. And the linebacker, I don't know what the hell the linebacker's doing. The linebacker's got the other A gap, and he literally looked like he's like trying to run and catch a bus. And it's like that was the linebacker's hole and man to tackle. Mazi did exactly what he thought, or what he was supposed to do by design, and it gets trashed because people don't understand that in defense, it's not just everybody running to the ball. I've got my gap, I got my responsibility, and I have to take care of that assignment. Because if I showboat and say, let me jump over to the other gap, and you're there with the linebacker, then you're messing up the play and you're making an even bigger hole. Mark, stop. In no way, shape, or form is Mazi said. No, hold on. Oh, my God. See, I'm sorry. Wait, you get under my skin there. Here's what I'm trying to say. I did I say that he was Warren Sapp?
No.
I said Warren Sapp throughout his career, using that as an example.
But you alluded that he's kind of Warren Sapp because you
No, I did not. I just tried to point out that people think that a defensive if he's not getting 10 tackles in a game, he's not doing anything. Pointing out that one of the best in the business, and I said that, Hall of Famer, had 2.8 tackles per game. So trying to equate and set the narrative of you can't compare a linebacker's totals to a defensive lineman's. Right? Or did you guys not understand that?
You talking to me?
That's what I'm trying to. Unfortunately, whenever you bring up somebody to try and put things in context of understanding what goes on, Dak Prescott misses one pass, you would think that nobody else in the NFL misses a pass.
I just think that's doing Mazi a disservice to mention anybody's name at this point. He needs to just put his head down. You said he's the first one on the field, the last one to leave, basically. All as I saw that Broadus was saying, he
took plays off. He did.
Well, it's not that he took plays off. His stamina. I'm very quick to jump on Jordan Davis, and that's his issue. The coaches are even outwardly saying their main concern about Jordan Davis is stamina. What is he like the third part of the season? What is he like in the fourth quarter, let alone the third part of the season? He just got to get his stamina up. When he's had a lot more good plays early on in this camp than he did all of last year. Yeah. So I think the sky's the limit. When he gets fatigued, he gets a little, and as do we all. We get a little disheveled. Our footwork isn't the same. I think he's going to be fine. He just needs to keep working. In my opinion, I think he's doing great. And from what you said, you're saying the same thing. Just how people get, Mark, when you start. The crap that you got when you were just comparing Micah to Lawrence Taylor as a rookie.
By their numbers, okay.
You were just complaining.
What I try to do is set the table and say, here's what some of the greatest people have done to start their career and so on, and go through and say they're starting a career like that. I have not said that he is Lawrence Taylor and put him in the Hall of Fame yet. Only time will tell on that one. And in the same way with Dak Prescott, only time will tell. Dak Prescott just needs a Super Bowl, and he'll be considered to be up there with the other ones. I know the assignments of one technique, but I need my one technique to make huge impacts in the middle. Well, I hear what you're saying, Wade, but if we end up getting a one technique that can just hold the line, that we're not the parting of the Red Sea, if he can penetrate 2 yards on a pass play, Micah and crew will sack that guy. If the quarterback can't step up, if he can occupy the double team and keep the guard from going to the linebackers, that's an improvement over what we had last year. We didn't have anything like that. At least, here's what I will say. At the moment, he's no worse than Hankins was last year.
Now, people think I'm crazy, but, the Pro Football Focus, I had mentioned this before, they had him rated higher than
Jordan Davis?
Hankins by the end of the year. That was last year, and we all thought that he was non-existent, which he was. But I still believe that it would help Mazi too. I think it would help Mazi to bring in a veteran defensive tackle to take a little more pressure off of him, because I think Mazi went through a lot last year emotionally, and everybody's saying it now. The expectations he put on himself and everybody else, and then he was playing with that injury. It's not easy. And what Dan Quinn was asking him to do, he felt the need to lose all this weight to try and do what Dan Quinn wanted him to do. Now things are simplified. Mazi just, add on some weight, deal with the double team, gain the line of scrimmage, do not get turned. Like Broadus did say, the one thing when you're standing on the sideline, what you don't want to see is number 58. You don't want to see the name and the numbers. He did a great job in the first game of doing that. Where he just he's staying square. If you could drive and, gain access to the line of scrimmage, that's what football is about. That's what I was showing that clip. I just got to shorten it up, obviously. You don't want to, like you remember the Titans. We're not going to let him gain another yard. That's what you want. And Mazi is on his way to doing so. So I'm excited about the defense. Again, people, we played less than 10 players, offense and defense combined, that are going to see any kind of playing time in the regular season. These were all third stringers, fourth stringers. Obviously, it's football, Mark. You can't sit everybody. You have to play somebody, So I thought they did well. Obviously, Trey Lance, we can get into Trey whenever you want to. I didn't think he looked good. It was not good. Walker Wade, what's up, brother? If Dak leaves, it's rush time, not Lance. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah. Mark, your opinion with that?
I tell you what, right now, and I'm going to get killed for saying this, I might as well have Ben DiNucci.
Or the other guy that's in Philly. What's his name that we had last year?
Greer.
Yeah, Will Greer. Exactly. Yep.
Sorry, the funniest thing to me is I had this guy, he's a comedian, Ray. Shout out to Ray, sitting next to me in practice. And literally, he's a Dak Prescott. He's like, Dak got to force the ball down the field. It's not that I don't like Dak, but he's got to force the ball down the field, and his accuracy stinks. And he was a big Trey Lance. Kept calling him Trigger Trey.
Trigger Trey. What's he triggering?
He's triggering me is what he's triggering. I'm just watching practice.
I'm not here to crap on him either, Mark.
I'm not here to crap on him either, but when Ray's up here telling me, he's like, yeah, but his handoffs are crisp. It's like that's your whole thing. His handoffs were crisp. Okay.
Well, Jay Daddy, real quick, Mark. He says praise Mazi but criticize Lance. Nobody is criticizing. When nobody's praising Mazi, I'm not. I listen. Watch the tape. He had a good game. Lance had 4 turnovers. Jay Daddy, you got to put up points. He missed a wide open Jalen Moreno proper in the end zone. Vox Lombardi and Bryan Broadus do a show, and they both pointed out 2 instances where there were touchdowns left on the field. Mazi had a good game. I don't know what you want. I'm not going to shit on
3
somebody,
tackles.
Jay Daddy, for nothing. So Mazi had a step in the right direction. Anyway, you go ahead, brother.
Yeah, okay. I will say, okay, yeah. And by no means am I saying that he's going to be a Pro Bowler and that he's going to be great. But what I know is he's putting in more work than anybody else. He's out on the field. He is the first one on and the last one to get off the field. And even walking across the field, he's walking across the field with the coach after everybody else is already gone and still working on moves and things. They've got him working on his hands. And, I try and point out some of the things that I see, having been a one technique guy, about how they're using the punch in the middle and the quick swim and the club, and really getting him to use his hands to work himself upfield. But when I saw after the screen pass, he got up there, he recognized, he got rid of the defender, and he got in there for the tackle for the loss. The very next play, it was a pass, and you could see that he was tired, and he just did not do a whole lot. He was probably worn out because it's been a very, very busy training camp. All I'm trying to say is the difference of what we saw from last year. I don't know that he got as much one-on-one coaching to be an NFL player. What he did in college was basically holding the line. They're teaching him now skills of using his hands and being able to hold his gap, keeping the shoulders square, going in there and being controlled. And you can look at this and say there will be a major improvement from where he was last year. Trey Lance, man. I got 4 practices and a game watching Trey Lance, and Cooper Rush impressed me more. I'm being honest, and I know the everybody's out there going to say, "Well, you're just trashing Trey because you're a Dak fan." No, I'm telling you,
no.
There's a night and day difference between Trey Lance and Dak Prescott.
Phil, for the sake of the Cowboys, we're rooting for Trey Lance to have a very successful preseason. Now, you know what would have happened, Mark? They would have used that in negotiations against Dak, and now they can't do that after one game. It's only one game, but if if you're a Cowboy fan. I don't know that you are, so I don't know whether to take you serious, bro. But just open your eyes. Everybody saw the same thing regarding Lance. Nobody's saying he's a failure. We're saying after one game, we're gonna call it how we see it. Just like when we get to the preseason,
right?
Just like what we did at the end of the playoff game last year. If it's bad, we're gonna call it out. I had a bag on my head, J Daddy, after that Green Bay playoff loss. So they all were crap. I'm going to call what I see. I thought Mazi had a step forward. There was a lot of bright spots in that game. Jalen Brooks, the guy I was telling you about, you saw under a competent quarterback, he caught 3 balls for 49 yards before Cooper Rush left the game. He didn't have any drops. He looked like the real deal. Jalen Tolbert, everybody's saying we need to go out and get a receiver. Jalen Tolbert didn't even dress. That's how good he's had. That's how good he's been playing in preseason. Right. So, anyway.
The players that didn't play, either they're injured or they're a solid starter and we're not putting them out there. So, yeah, Jalen Tolbert has definitely raised his game. Because let's use Jalen Tolbert as an example of a player who was ass their first year and started to turn it around, that it takes time. And that's all I'm saying about Mazi is I can see that he's not a guy who's just laying around on the field and just lazy and everything else. What I'm trying to tell and impress upon you guys is the guy is putting in the work. He has changed his body completely. I think he lost too much weight before. He is still thick, but he is not anywhere near like the sloppy, fat, one technique guy. Right. And that they are truly, you can tell that the coaches are working with him and on him because they're looking at him to play a major role in the defense. So that's what I can tell you about that. Whether or not we bring in anybody else to help out, I would love that. I always like having backup plans. Like in Boy Scouts, they always taught us, be prepared.
Be prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what... Well, I want to ask you more questions about your trip, but just real quick, we lost... Chuma Edoga for a period of time. I did a video on it. I was out doing errands. Chuma Edoga has a torn ligament in his toe. Oh, so he might need some surgery. Yeah. He might be out for an indefinite. Now they're doing more tests to see if it indeed is a torn ligament, but that's what they're fearing at this point. At the very least, it's bad. He's in a walking boot now. He's going to be out a while. So again, we all knew that Guyton was going to start at left tackle, and that's fine. That's great. But now we need to make sure who is going to be that swing tackle. Who is it? We need to find out. So a little bit of breaking news that I'm sure Mark had talked about as well. Edoga is out and indefinitely. It's not an IR situation necessarily, but they don't know for sure. Now, he actually was playing good, Mark. He actually was playing pretty good, Edoga. So what did you see at training camp? I'm sure you looked at the big guys. I know you were watching Mazi a lot.
I mostly focused on the
Guyton?
defense stuff. Guyton looked good. The thing about Guyton that amazes me is, one, is how big he is. Him and, of course, Tyler Smith, because I've got a bunch of stuff that I got autographed that we're going to be doing some giveaways and stuff, and got Tyler Smith's autograph on helmet with Dax and I think Jalen Tolbert and some other guys on there. So it's really a nice piece. The size of him, he is immense.
You don't realize,
but he is.
See him next to other guys. It's like, holy shit.
But he's like, I don't know if you're old enough to remember Fred Flintstone, but when they used to call him Twinkle Toes, literally his footwork is so quick and he recovers so fast. He's getting guys that are chopping, at the shoulder. That's one of the moves that you do, is you want to get a guy's hands off you, because typically when an offensive lineman gets his hands on you, it's hard to make a move. So that's where you're going to go ahead and do like a pull move, where you're basically grabbing the arms and trying to pull it down so you get your hands off them, then you can go off of it. Or you're doing the club on the shoulder to get it off there. I saw him get clubbed, and his hands and movement with his feet were so quick to recover that once he gets you, he's gotten you. And in fact, during the preseason game, one of the plays I saw, typically pass blocking is more defensive. It doesn't sound right, but comparing when you are running the football, you're more aggressive. You're driving a guy down the field. You're putting more weight on your hands. Pass blocking, you're basically sitting on back on your ass, and you're getting up here, and you're basically retreating. It's defensive. And getting guys to be able to slow down that rush and control him. He took a guy pass blocking, and you would have thought it was a dive, because he literally drove him across the field. And you're saying this guy is really strong, and he's got great hands and great feet moving.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I did a video earlier as well about even when he even had a couple reps where he was in the wrong position. He kind of dipped his head inside, with the pass blocking and the Dracula name Van Brockenberg or whatever.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is not Myles Garrett.
Well, yeah, it's not Myles Garrett, but it's still very, very impressive. Even when he was in the wrong position, his athletic ability and his feet were able to correct and push him way outside the pocket behind the quarterback. So what I'm telling you is, we knew that he could pass block, and we're seeing that. Even with mistake, he's handling pretty much everybody he's dealing with. Shit, he's handling Micah. I'm not saying he's winning every rep, but he's holding his own. What I'm really surprised at, Mark, is the run blocking and what he's doing. Albeit against second teamers, he's blowing them off the ball in the running game, and I never thought I would see that with a 6'8" guy who, remember, he played right tackle at Oklahoma, and he said, they don't know if he's going to translate. Some teams have him playing left. Well, he has what it takes. He's going to get beat, people. He's a rookie, but my God, he's off to a good start. And I don't know if you heard exactly what he had. I don't know if you heard, but from everything I'm hearing, Mark, they're saying he had a really bad chest cold. He can't breathe. He's on the side. It sounds a lot like, because he missed 4 days of practice. Sounds like a lot like he had COVID, because he's really gasping for a breath. The fact that he did what he did in the game, missing 4 practices, probably having COVID or whatever you want to call it, a sickness where his lungs were attacked. So you figure it out. I think it's COVID. Shit, the sky's the limit for this guy, and I know Drew. I don't see him in here, but Drew was like, he's gonna stink. He's not gonna be good this year.
They're gonna say that about everybody that we have.
I think that you got to give Dallas a little deference here, Mark, meaning they have only drafted 4 offensive linemen in the first round in their history, and they're all 4 went to a Pro Bowl. Am I saying he's going to a Pro Bowl this year? No, but I'm saying.
But at some point, you could see that.
Do not say he ain't going to be able to do the job. He's going to listen. The trial by fire, people. I'm actually excited that he's coming out the gates against Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine the offensive line coach and what they're going to say to him? I'm sure you've had coaches over the years pumping you up the day of a game. They're already in his head. So you're going up against the defensive player of the year.
That's the focus right now.
Yes,
you can definitely.
So that's exciting. That's what you want to see. You know, Guyton had the best feet in the draft. Ultra Nick, absolutely he did. But we didn't know, and it's early. But listen, people, relax. We're just telling you what we're seeing. I hope Trey Lance lights it up this week.
I agree.
He left 3 touchdowns on the field. Okay, look, that's all we're saying.
When you get 4 takeaways, you got to put points up there. Sorry, you just got to.
We're saying. We're going to call it. If Dak does it, we're going to light his ass up. If CD drops the ball, we're lighting him up. That's what we do.
Now, I will say, let me preface it this, that the Cowboys never show well in preseason. We don't ever win more than like 1 preseason game a year. So
we were streaming it, Mark, and I was praying for a loss.
Well,
I don't want to win. Only teams who have shitty years go 3-0 in the preseason.
There you go.
I called it. I wasn't praying for a loss. I'm not saying, but I was like, I called it. I'm like, we're going to lose this game. I said, this chump threw 4 INTs, and he's going to turn around and have a game-winning drive. And this was like 9 minutes to go in the game. And I don't know who it was, but I think it was Thomas Garrett. He's like, yeah, you were right. I'm like, I could see it. That's what the Dallas does. But again, not many people on that field are going to be on the field in the regular season. So.
Right. And this is where you want to get some work in and you want to get out healthy because it means absolutely nothing. But I will tell you that because you're asking about the swing tackle.
Yes.
Okay. Let me preface this saying here before somebody accuses me of saying that he is this guy. I'm pointing out, just for general knowledge, Dan Deerdorf, who started his career as a guard, became a tackle and finished up his career, which went to the Hall of Fame, as center. Right now, Cooper has a long way to go at center. He ended up playing 55 snaps in this game. I think 42 were at center and 13 at guard. He looks really good and comfortable at guard because that's what he basically played last year. And what you may end up having with him, with Brock Hoffman basically taking over that center role, we can definitely see that Brock's the starter right now. You know, Tyler Smith and, of course, Zach Martin, you don't want anything to happen to them. But I could see Cooper Beebe being the next man up for those positions. And I actually would feel comfortable with that because he has actually played that well at guard, at least. And again, this is a preseason game with a lot of guys that are not going to be NFL caliber guys. So, and it's only the first one. There's no game planning and things like that. So understand what you see in this game is not real action. They literally aren't game planning it. They're just basically going out and they're throwing different shit on the wall to say, let's try this, to do work to get stuff out. But what you see in practice and seeing these guys working against each other, that's where you look and say, it's possible he could be that swing offensive lineman. And he has played tackle as well, because this is the problem now.
That's the thing. He actually has played tackle early on in college, whereas he hasn't played center since high school. We kind of were led a little bit, again, in the whole draft process, people, we're kind of, we go, I mean, you know, if we're not in the room and we're not doing and we're not talking to the players, we're only going by what we're hearing from these scouts, these media scouts,
right?
Dane Brugler. I was under the impression that he had played some center, but he hasn't played being a center since high school, and that just goes to show you the learning curve and how fast this guy picks stuff up. Because Cooper Beebe was struggling with the shotgun snaps.
Yeah.
And Mark was there. I'm sure he could tell you.
He's literally getting. He's snapping the ball left. I mean, even to his mother. His mother has been on the sidelines.
He didn't have a bad snap.
Right.
So that just goes to show you. And Mark, again, I'll tell you, I don't know. Have you played center at some point in your career? You probably did. It's one of the hardest things on the whole team to do, because you got a beast, whether it's Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter or
this close to your head,
whoever. You got to snap the ball knowing he's bearing down on your ass, and then you got to actually block and try and gain the line of scrimmage. It's not easy. And Beebe is just starting out, people. He's going to be a stud. I think he's ultimately going to be the guard, probably for Zach Martin. I hope Zach stays another 3 years, honestly, because that just helps the team.
That's actually, that was more of my thought, that if, Zach Martin has hinted that, maybe that he does retire next year. If he does, then you have Brock Hoffman as your center, then you got Cooper Beebe as a guard. And that's not necessarily as good as having Zach Martin, but you look and say, this is a guy who can play. He's got the size, the strength and stuff. It was amazing being out there on the field and seeing the guys, because of course he's getting hazed. He's carrying, like 6 helmets and shoulder pads and everything else after practice to the locker room and stuff. But he still, every single time, had a smile on their face, and that's what you love to see.
That's it. You could tell he's loving every minute of what he's doing. DeMarvion Overshone is him. We could, we could switch gears a little bit. Ultra Nick, I don't know, man. I mean, Overshone looks like a beast, man.
Again, don't get too excited about anything you've seen or too upset.
Last year,
okay, but he moves well, and his body, there's not any fat on him. He is literally just cut right the hell up, and looks good. He looks really good in practice, and he looked good in the game. I'm excited about him. Like you were saying, that the defense can't help but to be better. The problem we're going to have on the defense is edge rusher. Are we taking a step back there? I think we potentially are no worse at defensive line. We're markedly better right now at linebacker. And the only question I have is, will Diggs be ready to go 100%? 3 of the days of practice, Diggs was not dressed for practice. Pinks for president. Yeah. Oh, man. Not pinks for president. Oh, man. Thank you, Rhonda. Yeah.
What's up, West Virginia country boy? Again, just because we're giving praise, or if I'm giving praise, it's based on what I'm seeing in practice and preseason games. This is not trend. That's all you can expect to do, people. I don't know what you want here. If a guy doesn't look good, you know what, Mark? This is where I'm at too, and we can take this wherever you want to go. But I just want to make this statement. Over the years, I think our team falls in love too much with all the draft picks. That's what's interesting, because everybody's on a 1-year deal. But Mike Zimmer, his draft class, at least defensively, looks to be all that. Now, I don't want to see guys who are on the team just because they were high draft picks from years prior. Like Junior Fehoko, he's just not showing me anything. So we'll see. There's still time.
Junior Fioco's getting
an opportunity
in that game. He was getting blown off the ball.
And again,
he did not
good.
Yeah, he did not look good at all.
I mean, I think we're going to need a D tackle. I think we're going to need a D tackle, a veteran to come in, and Marshawn Nealon. Your thoughts on him? Well, what did you see when you were at camp? What are the what's the buzz? Are you hearing anything different than what we're hearing?
He's built a little bit thicker than D-Law. D-Law is actually a little bit on the skinnier side, believe it or not, but he's actually looked pretty good as well. He's gonna, the question will be is how good will he be as a rookie? Because you can't expect it so much. You think about D-Law. His rookie season, he was kind of injured for most of it. When we played the Lions in the playoffs, I think he had 2 sacks, and I think those were the only sacks he had that year. In fact, you started wondering, was this a wasted pick? Defensive ends typically will take a couple years to get ready to really be able to rock and roll. That's where I thought Sam Williams had the opportunity this year to step up. And that's where seeing what Mike Zimmer has done, we have seen Micah Parsons all over the field. And I think ultimately what Mike Zimmer has realized is Micah is a weapon that we need to put in the best position possible to succeed. And it's not having him constantly over as an edge rusher where you can game plan against him. For me, I look at it and say, from him being out on the edge to sometimes walking up as a linebacker into the A gap, and having him all over the place. If the quarterback has to come out and start looking to see where's Micah Parsons coming from, that's just another thing that they have to worry about. And if he's getting in the A gap and blitzing, there's not too many offensive linemen that are going to be quick enough to stop him. He is literally that fast to be able to shoot that gap. And so that's where ultimately you're going to be able to do great things. The problem with people watching is they will think that one guy is going to end up doing everything. But you have to understand that it's 11 guys with 11 assignments. And if one person doesn't do their assignment, that play is going to fail. So you can look at it and say, oh, well, Micah didn't get to the quarterback. Well, if the quarterback was able to step up and run up the middle, that's not Micah's assignment and job. And so you've got to have everybody across the line. And that's where, not getting back to Mazi, but getting back to the center of the line. If the center of the line, you're not going to see a lot of sacks from your defensive tackles. But if they get a push and the quarterback is seeing people in their face, you're getting that big paw up. It makes it harder for them to see down the field. Or you're tipping the pass and it's an interception. Or it's making the quarterback uncomfortable because they don't want anybody in their knees. They're ready to take off and they can't step up. That makes the outside guys more effective. They're the ones that are going to clean up off of your work. And this is a whole, piece of the puzzle. It just kind of bothers me. Sometimes people don't understand. I have this spot. This is my spot right here. And then they look and say, well, look, he didn't block it. He didn't do anything. The guy's running over there. That's not his assignment. He's not the one that's supposed to make the play. And that's where you have to be an educated fan to understand on some of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and not to mention that, the scheme that we're going to, and I've heard this mentioned in a few different places, but basically, I don't like this school of thought, by the way. I do want to get another veteran D tackle to add to the mix, a one technique. I like what I'm seeing from Justin Rogers. That Higgins guy, he needs to go.
Yeah.
He was getting blown 6-8 yards. The Eagle, no surprise.
Was that 68?
The Eagle did not look
68,
good. He looked like
right?
crap. So
68, right?
But the fact that we're using 3 linebackers, Mark, I'm hearing that that it's going to make, obviously you're using an extra linebacker, so it's not like you only have the 2, you have 3 linebackers. So like Mark's been saying, what Mazi's job is to take on a double team, not get turned, stay square, and try and gain leverage and get into the backfield. You push him back as far as you can. And then your 3 technique lined up next to him. You even saw Mazi playing 3. You saw Carl Davis playing 3. But you didn't see the starters. Now, Mazi may rotate in, and he may be a starter. I don't know.
Mazi's going to be a starter. I can guarantee you that right now.
So they're getting him in. But, again, you got Osa lined up next to him, who was who did make the Pro Bowl, albeit, nowadays it's like this guy, that guy, this guy can't make it. That's okay. Osa's in a contract year. Osa's a very good 3 technique.
Met his mom.
His problem is he gets a little tired again at the third part of the season where hopefully he can get over that. But that whole 3 linebacker thing, they're relying on, they don't necessarily need the dominant D tackles that you might have needed last year in a 2 linebacker set. So we'll see. I hope they get somebody still. I do.
Here's what I'm gonna see if I can do.
I agree, Ultra Nick. We need him to be Vince Wilfork. I don't know if that'll happen, but go get me another body to help out Mazi so we don't have all this pressure on this young kid. He's still very young. Very emotional kid. I think he's going to. Mazi's not a bust kid, Cowboy. Learn the game, my guy. I'm sorry, he's not a bust yet. You can't say here He's a bust. He's a bottom of the first round guy. He's just as much of a bust as Nolan Smith is, kid Cowboy. He was 2 picks away from Nolan Smith with the Eagles, who's done nothing. Stop comparing Mazi to Jordan Davis and compare him to guys that were drafted around him. He was a 27th pick in the draft, which is the second round value. So everybody just relax with the whole bust stuff.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let me put this up here for a second. This is going to be a case of, let's see. Oh, wrong one. Nope, hold up. Let me put this up because this is what I'm kind of talking about here. You're not going to see this game time, but I need to move it. Hold on. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, well, I have your channel up. It's muted.
Okay. Let me adjust this. Make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I see it. I'll see it.
Okay. So this is a case right here. What we have on this one, okay? This play that's right here, you see where Mazi Smith is. He's shaded to the left, okay? And you've got your other defensive tackle is shaded on the outside of the guard. And when this play goes on, this is one that Philly 500 is like, yeah, Mazi sucks. If you watch what happens, he engages, his hole is to the left. That's his assignment. The other defensive tackle is outside of the guard. The linebacker has got the other A gap in here. And so people are looking at this and saying, well, Mazi sucks. He stood up the offensive lineman, didn't give up any ground, right? You see this? You've got your linebacker who's in the hole, perfect position. You've got your other tackle taking on a double team and holding the ground. The defensive line did their job. But I don't know what the hell, as the guard's coming off, what the linebacker is doing. I'm assuming he's thinking that he's going to go wide and he bends it back. But see, this is what I say about when you have a gap, you have to fill your gap assignment. Mazi got his. The other defensive tackle got his. The linebacker jets out and leaves that hole right there. And people are saying, look at Mazi, he sucks. Well, Mazi was controlling his spot. Now, had he recognized and maybe could have closed back down? Yes. But that hole was not on Mazi. That hole was on the linebacker who literally, I don't know where the hell he's going. Look at this. It's like, whoop, I got to get out of here. He literally flies out of there. And he should have recognized that I've got the guard coming at me. I need to take on the guard and shed the block. Instead, he runs us off the field.
Right.
And so here's where I'm getting, this is where I get flustered because I got Philly 500. Look at Mazi. He sucks, man. And it's like, wait a minute. Do you understand football at all?
That's his job, though. His job is to stir the pot.
Jim Laws. Shout out to Jim Laws. Tyler R is going to help our O-line. You're right about that. Shout out to Jim Laws. Appreciate you being in here, buddy.
Just wants to say, Mark, thank you for going to pink.
Oh, my God. Man,
Dude, that looked good. Stop dissing on pinks. It looked tasty, man.
Yeah, but I tell you what, man.
Did it come out? How fast before it came out?
It caused an earthquake in L.A. is what it did.
Did you drink the brown water?
Shit. It caused an earthquake in California.
I thought it looked good too, Logan Motorsports. That shit looked tasty. Mark went with the right one with the bacon. I think that was a smart move.
That was the which one was that? That was
the
damn, what's her name?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. I was just going to get the jalapeno one, which was chili, onions, and relish, and mustard. But Tracy was like, well, it's only $1 more to get the Drew Barrymore and have bacon on it. And it's like, oh, Lordy. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't need
with a heart attack. Go all the way. Get the bacon
Bro,
on a freaking hot dog.
Everything was so expensive out there. Oh, my God. Even
I've never
fast
been
food.
to California, people. I know it's a weird thing. When I retire, I'm going to get out there. But I've never been to Cali. I've flown over it, around it, through it. But Wade, Patriots Pro Bowler linebacker is up for trade. Yeah. Wade, Philly 500 is doing videos every day. He thinks that they're going to go out and get him. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll
What's
see.
up, Robbie?
Well, if they were to go through, I don't know if you've looked at over the cap lately.
Yeah, we got a lot of money because
CD's money's not counting on it because he's not there. So it's $29 million at the moment. Now, if they could get him signed, it would be right around, $20 million of cap space. And I believe that Friday's practice, Dak and Jerry and Steven and all those guys weren't there. I'm believing that was the beginning of the negotiations right in there to really start working on getting that stuff together. I think Jerry Jones took a big hit, and I think the realization of some of the shit that they're doing is beginning to sink in a little bit because I've been to training camp many, many times. And let me show you something here. Let me grab something here for a sec.
Matthew G. John lives in Dallas, has a restaurant in Dallas. This could be a move the Cowboys make. Ultra Nick, man. Ultra, that would be the best thing because Philly 500, he literally is getting very, very, almost too excited about Matthew G. John. Every day there's a Matthew G. John link to the birds. Fly, Eagles, fly. If he came to Dallas, what we got to start thinking about, Ultra Nick, is what would they want? Would they want a player? Would we give up a player? This is where I think Stephen Jones lacks, Ultra. I think he lacks the outside of the box thinking that Howie Roseman does, where you have to go out and get somebody. I mean, this is a guy who's under contract. That would be a good move, but that's normally a move the Eagles would make. But I think the Eagles, Mark, and you can get to your point, I think the Eagles are now in the realm of when you sign a Jalen, you sign AJ, you sign Devontae, you sign a Barkley, and then you went out and got CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know it's not a long-term deal, but you're still paying him decent money. Now you have to start looking up how much money you're going to be able to give. Philly's under the impression that they're going to go out and get Matthew Judon. I think what you see is what you got. Eagle fans don't expect any more big moves.
The reality, at some point, you look at where, all of it's down the road. When you start looking at 3 years down the road and they've only got like $30 million, you're betting that those guys pan out, that you're not going to have to eat a whole lot of dead money on it. Now, I wanted to bring up one point about training camp because, and I hate to sound like a whiny little bitch, but for everybody that's out there saying that, Dak should take a team-friendly deal or CD shoes or they're greedy and things, I want you to understand that when I used to go to training camp, you got your True Blue membership, and it was $20. If you ordered merchandise from the Cowboys shop, you got a 15% discount because you spent that $20. And what you used to get was, Dallas United water bottle, because I got a couple of these. In it, a Dallas Cowboys towel. You got Cowboys United sunglasses, and a license plate cover. Pretty good for $20, right? And you could stand there on the fence line there with the players on either side of the field.
Now you're cordoned off into the
now
stands.
You get nothing, and you only have to pay that one time. Now it's $23 every practice, and you get nothing. $23. So you see the numbers of people being way down from where they used to be. Oh, and the other side where you used to get saying you can't anymore unless you're paying $290 for the VIP section. Eagles got Cap Hill coming on the horizon. You are 100% right. Shout out to Walker Wade.
He's on a roll. Thank you, Wade. Forbes has just came out. Dallas is officially over the $10 billion value mark. Bryan SoCal, he added me and you as well as other people on X. The Cowboys are valued at $10.3 billion, the highest
franchise of any sport.
Yeah, Dallas are now valued at $10.3 $3.2 billion, the most valuable sports franchise in the world, and the first ever to crack $10 billion. So there's a reason why, everybody, because they're charging Mark Holmes $290 to get.
Oh, I didn't pay for that.
I know you didn't, but you would have had to if you didn't.
But here, you know what?
Anybody.
Here's the worst part about this, though.
That's the idea.
No. You have
Not
to.
everybody gets to be with Law Nation and slide back there. Is all I'm trying to say. You would have had to pay.
Here's what's crazy about it, though, to make it even worse, because they have 2 fields that they practice on. You have to buy the ticket online for that day. You don't know if they're practicing on that side or not, and there's no refunds.
Right.
So they're not going to tell you, oh, there's no practice on this side.
Well, what you do is you pay the $290 and then you go wherever you want to go. That's what they want you to do every day. Pay that $290. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, people. That's ridiculous amount of money. I get it. If you're a Law Nation, you can afford it. Maybe I don't even know. I assume he's paying, but maybe not. I don't know. He might be so big that they're like, "Yo, we'll let you in here because you're bringing eyes to our franchise." That's probably what's going on. I doubt he's there for 10 days, paying $290.
He's got sponsors that end up hooking him up with the passes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's not the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. The Cowboys aren't even paying for their own people to be there.
It's crazy.
Aisha, you know Aisha, right? They have no budget for her to be there at training camp.
It's what?
They have no budget for like Aisha to be there at training camp. They don't pay
their budget.
The Cowboys don't budget money for their own people to be there.
That's ridiculous. Come on now.
Bro.
I'm saying they're worth 10.3. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but we're talking about wait, hold it. Brian, you remember when we went to training camp, the Star, right? And we saw the dining room in the Star? You remember when they were saying they charge the players monthly for access to the cafeteria? They're charging lunch money to the players.
So much so that the Eagles, who am I thinking of, people? Ross, the NFL Network, he does the Eagles games. Anyway, he played with the Cowboys, offensive lineman, Ross Tucker. Mm-hmm. That's it. Ross Tucker actually did a video. They actually did a video. Last year. He was on the radio, WIP locally, ripping the Cowboys. He played for the Cowboys. He was drafted. I believe he was drafted by Dallas, and he crapped on him that, Again, why are we charging the players? But I'm not, that's for another day. But not Rick Ross, Jay Dowdy, Ross Tucker. He's an Eagle. He's an Eagle guy now. He does all the preseason games on TV. He said the same thing. That's absolutely ridiculous. But again, that's what this team does. They're more and I don't want to be a negative. I'm very excited about the year, but everything they do, Mark, it revolves around the almighty dollar. It's frustrating. Whether you like CD or not, make a decision in a timely fashion. You know what I'm saying? Make a decision.
Where it's not hurting. Because, see, now the team is, okay, think about this. They're practicing right now as we speak, okay? Tomorrow they're going to be practicing against the Rams again. They've decided they're doing another joint practice, and I think that's going to be the way of the NFL season. They'll have practice on Thursday. Friday might be a walkthrough or it might be a day off, and then they got a game on Saturday. So now you're getting into the game mode. There's not a whole lot of padded practices left to get up to speed. And now you're talking about a guy who's going to be coming in cold, and wanting to, getting his contract, and now there's the pressure and everything else. Does he end up getting injured? Trying to get up to speed.
Mouse, I did see that, the Ayuk to the Steelers. I think he will be traded. It's just a matter of what at this point. I think Brandon Ayuk realizes Niners aren't going to give him any more money. They got to take care of their quarterback. That's just a fact. So, yes, I did see that. 49ers and Steelers have a deal in place. They're just waiting on Brandon to decide what the hell he wants to do. The Prime Time says, I always question the Joneses, but you have to question CeeDee Lamb and his agent. They didn't want to negotiate until Jefferson did his. And I agree with that, Prime Time. Everybody wants to crap on Jerry, but I do believe that there's a little bit of CD didn't want a deal last year either, Mark. He wanted to wait until they both wanted to wait for more leaves to fall. You know what I mean? So Now it's funny because now I see Jamar Chase is not in practice. I wonder what that means.
Well, they decided that they weren't going to get that deal done and so on. So it's kind of like, you know what? I guess he's decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get paid too. It seems to be working for Brandon Ayuk.
Well, again, man, you're one hit away from not getting paid. That's why everybody who thinks Dak won't take a lesser deal to sign now than after the year, you're crazy. This game is too violent. Dak, got hurt on a nondescript out of the pocket play, where he got pulled down awkwardly and almost ended his career. It only takes one more to do it. So you will get a better deal if you have Dak now rather than at the end of the year. Because if I'm Dak, I'm saying, once the season starts, I don't want to negotiate, but maybe he's stupid for doing that. I would let his agents just deal with whatever. But what evidence is there that CD wanted to wait on his contract? Big Sarge, I would say the evidence is what Steven said. Now, if you don't believe Steven, that's fine. Steven and Jerry both said that. Actually, it was Stephen Jones, right, Mark? He made a comment that that they've offered him contracts. Now, then again, we don't know what they offered.
Yeah,
so
you could say we're going to give you a $300 million contract and only $1 guaranteed.
Right.
You need to say, well, we offer him $300 million, but only $1 guaranteed. Well, shit, screw you. So you don't know, and it's kind of like this. If you and your wife are having an argument and somebody's asking you what happened, you're always going to put yourself in the best light. You're going to leave out a few of the details of some of the things that you did to set her off. I didn't do anything. Listen, I was the good guy. I offered to do, I offered to help clean up the kitchen and everything else. And, she just said, screw you and things. But you know what? She asked you 15 times to help clean up the kitchen and finally got mad and said, screw you, I'll take care of it. And then after you realize you're going to be sleeping on the couch, you came back and said, well, let me help you. No, I got it. So you tell the story of, I offered to help, but then she just got mad at me. You kind of left out some of the details there that make it look totally different. So and
Primetime says his agent was at the Olympics. So not that they can't fax over deals, but that does weigh in on it. Unfortunately, things like that happen. He's right. It's always the wife's fault. Crypto Keeper, if in doubt, blame the better half, right?
Nah, there you go.
Joking. Keep it low.
With no dinner for that night, either. There you go. He's exactly right.
Okay, Primetime. Sorry, bro.
But as we get ready to get out of here, any other questions about training camp or thoughts or anything that we had?
I want your overview. Okay, you were there with your wife or your daughter, so obviously we know it's not cheap. But your overall take: would you go back to training camp, and what are you looking forward to Saturday night against the Raiders?
I had a really good time. It cost a whole bunch of money. And I'm going to say, for the whole we're all in crowd, we are all in as far as the players go. The players are doing everything they can be to be the best players they can be. Now, I can't say that about the front office, but I am excited about the players that were there. It was great hanging out with my man Law Nation and stuff and working with him. And, of course, seeing our players up close and seeing some practice and getting a little bit of a taste of the season. The experience.
Thanks, West Virginia. You're in the hopper, bro.
The Eagle fans are pounding their chest because they're like, we got 55,000 people that were there at camp, which is true. Shout out to them. But they don't have as many open practices as the Cowboys, I don't believe. And they're having it in their stadium at home. The problem is Cowboys are 1,500 miles away from Dallas. You're in Oxnard, which is still a good 90-minute drive if there's no traffic from L.A. And if you're going to training camp, you don't just drive to, L.A. to Oxnard and back and forth.
How long of a drive is that anyway?
We, if the traffic's not bad, it's about 90 minutes. It's only about 65 miles. But
okay, I thought
it depends. Like sometimes you can be just going 10 miles in L.A. and it's 45 minutes or an hour. So when we went back to Oxnard, from Oxnard on Wednesday, It took us about 2.5 hours to go 60 miles to get back to LA. So it's kind of, it's not easy, so to speak. And now Oxnard is growing, and, you know, training camp is there. So, of course, the prices are getting, you know, kind of going up in there and stuff like that. So it's not cheap to do that. And, of course, now you're getting charged by the Cowboys, you know, basically to be there. So you really have to want to be there. And I'm going to say the enthusiasm was not like it used to.
It didn't look it, be honest with you.
It didn't.
Bobby Babinski says y'all going to go through this next year with Micah. Yeah, I mean we have more options with Micah. So you know, listen. Again, we could all you know, they could do it all. People, they really can. Just look at teams like the Eagles. They just look at teams like Miami Dolphins, 49ers. There's money out there. It's all a negotiation. But all right, everybody, we're gonna call it. Mark's got a lot to do. He's lagged out. He's jet lagged. But real quick, before we go, Mark, I got a lot of people in here. I would say at least 4 or 5, maybe up to 6 people that are going to that Dallas Eagles game. I told everybody just to get their own tickets for now, unless I'm waiting. We're going to try and do something, people. But
you and I need to at least get tickets together.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You know, we're going to work on getting a block of seats, but there's no guarantee with that, especially with the Cowboys people. So just, you know, but the way it seems like we're definitely going to have a meet up and most likely some sort of tailgate. So on the day of the game. So again, I do have at least 6 people that are excited to hang out with us on the day of the game. So I'm looking forward to it. But let's let Mark go and do it. I'm sure he's got to get. I know Coyote, he had emailed me, said I said, you were away. You didn't get a chance to do any of those plaques or anything that I guess he was a winner or something. So
no, Mike. Actually, Michael sent them out while I was gone.
Okay. Well, then
the 2 winners
email
that we
Mark
had.
Again, and, you know, just figure that out. Maybe.
Coyote emailed me on that, and let me double check. But Michael,
I think it was Coyote. I believe it was Coyote. He won something on your channel.
Okay.
But, we'll figure that out. He's good for it. Mouse, Bryan, will you be streaming? When? Like, what are we talking? But yeah, we'll be streaming if I go to a game, of course. But don't forget, tomorrow we got the channel member Zoom call tomorrow night. So don't forget Wednesday nights. But yes, thank you everybody for stopping by. Mark, thank you, my man. It looked like you had a good time. It looked like you were tired, but like I always tell everybody, you're literally one of the hardest working people I know, let alone YouTube. So thank you for everything that you brought us. It was great.
You're very, very welcome. I appreciate the being in here with you. So now it's time to get to work. We got the Raiders on Saturday, and I can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to see it. I'm actually going to enjoy just being home to watch the game, because that's a job in itself to get to the game and everything else.
Definitely. But all right, everybody. I'm going to mute Mark, and then we're going to get out of here. All right. Take care, Mark. I'll talk to you.
Peace out. And
all right, everybody. I am out of here. I'll probably be doing.
Appreciate everybody being here. And remember, check out BetUS. Peace out.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.